Welcome back on our channel, everyone. Today I'm starting a new series where we are going to travel the world and recreate dishes inspired by those beautiful cuisine. Our first stop, China, and we're gonna do a pork and shrimp dumpling with a beautiful sesame and soy sauce. Lots of umami, crazy flavors, so let's go. Alright, so we're gonna start working our dough. In a medium-sized bowl, we are going to place our flour as well as our salt. We're going to give that a bit of a tiny whisk until we add the warm water, not boiling, just warm. Then we're going to start mixing first with a spatula, then we're gonna get our hands dirty and get that bowl a bit of rough time until we place it on our bench. And this is when we're gonna actually start kneading it until we have a nice bowl of dough that is nice and smooth and elastic. We're gonna place that in the fridge covered for about 20 to 30 minutes. So we are now going to work on a mushroom salt. I had some end of shiitake mushrooms, so the feet or some that were about to go bad. I dehydrated them. We're gonna turn them into a salt. This is going to be very simple. In a cup or a blender, whichever you have at home, you're going to place your dehydrated mushrooms as well as your salt. You're gonna close the lid of your blender and you're just gonna blitz it until everything is nice and smooth. Nothing really complicated, about 30 seconds to a minute. Make sure you don't warm it up though, so it doesn't coagulate and you have like a bit of a problem. Alright, we are now going to work on the actual filling of the dumpling. So we have some shrimp, some ground pork, we have some young ginger, some garlic, scallions, carrots, our mushroom sauce, some sesame, and some brown sugar, and we're gonna mix all of that together. So here comes the part where I'm going to give you a bit of work. We're gonna start by deveining and peeling our shrimp. Basically, the deveining, you want to slice the top and make sure that you remove that vein that goes across. We call that a poop bag. And do not throw your shells because we can use them for soup, for broth, or we can dehydrate them and turn them also into a shrimp salt. Alright, so as you've noticed, we don't like to throw anything in the show and we like to reuse food. Anyway, back to the shrimp. You want to make sure you cut them into quite a good chunk. We want to make sure that we taste that shrimp. Then we're going to add our ground pork, so it's equal parts shrimp and pork. Give that a bit of a stir, and now we're gonna start working on our veggies. We're going to make sure that all the vegetables we're using are all the same size, and it's a mirepoix, which means they're very small dices. It's only going to cook for 10 minutes, so you make sure that it's actually not raw and it's not too crunchy, although we still want a bit of a bite. So we're gonna start with our carrots, turning them into a nice mirepoix, add that to our bowl. Next, we're going to move on to the garlic. So you wanna make sure it's nice and minced. You can even chop it up using your knife. Then we're gonna move on to the scallions. Same idea, you can use the white and the green, but make sure it's really thin. Once you're done with the scallion, we are going to do the young ginger. You can also use regular ginger, it's absolutely fine. One thing I found with the ginger, it's actually going to stain your fingers, so note to self, be careful with it. So you're going to peel it with your spoon and make sure you keep those peels as well. You can dehydrate them, once again, turn them into a salt, put them into a broth. Anyway, we're gonna take the young ginger, cut it into very, very small brunoise, and we're gonna add that to a bowl. And then we're gonna start mixing that so it's nice and smooth. We can then now add our spices. I'm gonna start with a tablespoon of our mushroom salt and 1 tablespoon of regular salt. We're gonna add brown sugar and a bit of sesame oil and give that a nice whip. Alright, so our dough is rested, we have our filling. I'm gonna work on the sauce, and next we're gonna start roll the dumpling. In a small bowl, I'm going to add my soy sauce. I'm using tamari, so it's soy free. Then I'm gonna add my garlic, my chopped scallions, my chopped ginger, my sesame oil, and my chili powder. And we're gonna give that a tiny whisk. I didn't show you the cuts because I feel like by now we get it, but the same one as we did for the filling. Alright, it's time to roll our dough now. So we're gonna start by lightly flouring our bench, right? So not too much flour. Then we're gonna take our dough, we're gonna cut it in half. Also, it's not gonna rise, it's gonna be the same size, so don't be worried, there's no yeast. Then we're gonna start rolling into a sausage. Basically, when we have our nice sausage, we're gonna cut that in half, and we're gonna do the same thing with the other one. You're gonna end up with like 4 sausages. With that recipe, we make about 30 dumplings, okay? So you kind of like gather the amount of little cuts that you need to make. And when you have all our little sandwiches, we're gonna start rolling the dough. So you're gonna simply flatten them, make sure you use flour so they don't stick to your bench. And then you're gonna make sure they're very thin, about 1 to 1.5 millimeters. And please note, it's quite difficult, so you can also get some pre-made as well if it's preferable. Now that our dumplings are rolled, we're going to fill them. You know what they say, practice make it perfect. Well, it is very true in this case. I definitely struggle for the first few to remember how to make them. So basically, you're gonna place the dough in the center of your palm, and you're gonna place about a tablespoon worth of mix inside the dumpling. Then you're gonna wet the top side of the dumpling and you're gonna fold it over one another, making sure that you leave the bottom side always flat and then you curl it around the top. And that's it. So I'm gonna show you one more time, just so you have a different angle. And then what you can do as well is you can actually put it down on the bench and help yourself to reshape it to like the perfect form if necessary, so you have like that nice moon of deliciousness. All right, we're finished with the dumplings. Let's now set up the steamer and cook them. Okay, so first we're going to line our bamboo steamer with some parchment paper, the size of our bamboo, making sure there's a little hole in the center so that way the water can come through. So this is perfect. We're gonna place our dumplings all around. Then when the water is about to boil, I'm going to close it, place it on my pan, and we're gonna cook them for about 10 minutes. This is your reminder that 10 minutes have passed. All right, our 10 minutes are gone, so we are now going to check them. Yeah, perfect. So we're gonna take them off. I'm gonna cook the other batch and then we'll play them after. And what I'll do when I place them in the bowl, I'm gonna mix them with a bit of water and sesame oil so they don't stick. While our second and third batch are cooking, I'm going to start plating our dumplings. In a small plate, I'm going to place 5 dumplings. Again, you can place as many as you wish. I do like the odd numbers rule. And I'm gonna place some of a delicious sauce over top, and you know what time it is, green onions and time to eat. And here we have a beautiful pork and shrimp dumpling with a soy sauce. And then I'm just gonna try them. If you enjoyed this recipe, please, actually no, we're not gonna like, comment, and subscribe. If you enjoy this recipe, you also have to like, love, respect people that created all those amazing recipes, and you must stop Asian hate.